Every day, ordinary people make extraordinary choices as they negotiate unpredictable pathways to the peak of their expectations without ever taking the time to enjoy the view. Join me, Tish Tindall, at this panoramic viewpoint of astonishing personal and professional progress as we find out why my next guest is living the fabulous life. Not my next guest, my next three guests. Paranormal P.I. How are you all guys over there?
Doing great.
Good.
And you're all in America and I'm in Lossiemouth and it's really dark over here and the time difference is confusing.
So confused.
Very.
So Elizabeth, where are you?
I am in Austin, Texas.
And what time is it there?
3:04 in the afternoon.
And Chris, are you in Austin?
Yeah, I'm also in Austin.
So it must be 3:04 there as well.
I would hope.
And Jack, looking very regal there, Jack.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm from Austin, but I recently moved to College Station, which is a small town, kind of close to Austin.
So is it still 3:04 there? This is my question.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what? It's been a bit spooky for me. I set up my lights, then they weren't going to work, and all sorts of things have happened. And with the broadcast as well, things have happened as well. Do you believe that things can get a bit spooky? This goes to you, Jack. Do you believe in spooks?
I do believe in spooks. I didn't used to. In fact, I've been very science-based my whole life up until a couple of years ago. Once I started to explore the weirder stuff in life, and my research led me to belief. Yeah.
And if that was that one that was coming through the audio there, I don't know what that was.
I think so.
That was
yeah,
weird.
Yeah.
It's-
They're here. They're
So-
watching.
So, and the thing about you, Jack, is that you're a best-selling author. You know, I mean, I've been on Amazon and I've looked at all those books. I've not read any yet, but do you know what? Do you ever think that the stuff that you are writing about, I mean, is that in your head or where do you get the inspiration for?
Oh God. From what I'm reading, what I'm watching, I try to adhere to the adage that you should write what you want to read, and so that's what I do. I think of the coolest things, tentacles and zeppelins and fish people and Lovecraftian horrors and big action, and I think, oh, how can I make a story with those elements? And so that's what I do. Yeah.
And is that why you've teamed up with this two then?
Definitely. They are super weird and super cool, and I love
And Chris, this goes to you. So you've been involved in thinking this way. Oh, you've definitely got somebody there in the room.
Yeah, it's unfortunately this is the day and time when they do the art.
Oh, I see. Well, that's okay. When you say they, you mean people that are actually out there. We can
Yeah,
see
people
them.
who actually go outside who aren't afraid to die. Yeah.
That's fine. So, Chris, tell me about you. You've been involved in all things spiritual, spooky for a while. What's your background?
Well, my background is actually a lot like Elizabeth's. You know, I started with independent films. I went to film school, and then from there I went into doing PR, and then one day, I was talking to my mother, and I said, you know what? Wouldn't it be great if I could just investigate all the weirdest stuff on Earth and be paid for it? And she said, sure, can you? And I said, I'll find a way. And so that's kind of what spurred me on. But I've always been into things that were creepy or different or the macabre, just because I don't know, it's called to me. I think it's interesting, and there's something going on. I don't know what, but I'd like to find out.
And not just in your yard. There is something actually going on.
Right.
And tell me, had you read any of Jack's books before? You went
Actually,
in?
yes. I've read
There
his
you
first
go.
book, he has like in that series. There's like 9 books,
There's a lot of
so
books.
there's a lot of books. So I'm pacing myself.
Take your time.
And Elizabeth, of course, I know Elizabeth. I know Elizabeth as the producer of this program, also as an actress, a dancer, a director, a producer, a filmmaker, and now, producing all these horror festivals, film festivals. Elizabeth, why are you suddenly telling the world that you're involved in this kind of investigation?
Well, it's something I've done for a while now myself. Like personally, whenever I go to a new city or country, even I'll seek out the haunted, known places, and I'll just go and see what I can find. And then, obviously, watching all these ghost shows all my life, been obsessed with the paranormal. Yeah, I think since meeting these two, we want to make a TV show. Ultimately, we're just like, now's the time. We need to get ourselves out there and be the best out there on TV.
Yeah, and I think we over in Britain, we have a series that has been very popular for years and years and years. And sometimes when I watch that, I'm thinking, is this staged? Are we making this up? And when I watched some of the footage from the work that you guys do, and I think we're going to see that at the end of the show. Do you know what I liked about it most? It was at one point Elizabeth says to you, Jack, do you feel anything yet? And he goes, nope, not yet. And and Chris is going, no, but it's over here. Do you see it? And then at one point Elizabeth comes running and is like, I'm scared. It's so fresh and so real and so not staged and almost not for the telly, not for the cameras. I think that's why it's going to be really cool to watch and very believable. And do you think, Elizabeth, do you believe that there is something that you're trying to prove here? Why are you doing this? Because clearly people are going to say, are you mad? You lost your mind. What's going on up there? What are you trying to prove by doing this work?
I think ultimately it's to prove to, excuse me, to prove to ourselves, because I know in my heart, I know in my head that there is other worlds or worlds, and I get visits myself, and I think I'm not insane, or maybe I am, but ultimately, yeah, to prove to ourselves and find proof in my lifetime that the paranormal or whatever phenomenon, because we don't just go for ghosts. We're going to try and prove alien existence. We're going to try and prove different things, and we're going to be scientific about it. And so yeah, until I die, the day I die, I mean, even if I haven't proven it to the world, I'll come back and prove it.
I bet you will. I bet you will. And Chris, when you're talking about what you guys are going to do, so paranormal investigation, what's it going to do? If I wanted something investigated, could I come to you and say, look, guys, could you come and sort this for me? What would you do in that case?
Okay. Well, in that case, what we would do is we would thoroughly interview you. So we would get to know all aspects of, where you live, your life, everything, because there's so many different ways to approach what's going on. It depends on, well, and there's so many different things that are happening. If you ask 10 different paranormal specialists what they think is going on, you'll get 11 different answers. So it's really important for us that when we encounter something or if someone has a problem, we break it down bit by bit by bit. So, what's going on in the house? How is this affecting the person? And then we look for anything that we can actually make into a metric, something that we can measure to get any kind of data on. And I guess that's the hardest part about what we're trying to do, because it's fine when you're going to see orbs and things like that. But what we really want to do is explain what those are. It's not so much, someone goes, oh, there's definitely a ghost here. Well, how do you quantify that? How
Yeah.
can you bring that in such a way that you can actually say, you know, with a degree of certainty, yes, there is something here. And that's what we focus on. And so we're pretty meticulous. I mean, it would be, we would set up in someone's house. I mean, this wouldn't be like, oh, a 3-day investigation. No, we're going to investigate you for like a month.
That sounds
Uh,
fantastic.
well, I think it's the approach you have to take if you want to get enough data to say one way or another, or to even make a working theory.
And what do you mean data, though? I mean,
So let's say, in particular, that in your house, for some reason, uh, you were woken up by something at 3 o'clock every morning.
yeah,
Let's say it could be a loud banging. Okay.
yeah.
Well, if that's a constant, uh, we now then have a point of reference, a point of data to work off of. We go, okay, well, let's figure out what this is. And then that's when you go through all the stuff like checking the plumbing, making sure that no animals got into the walls. You go through all of the normal explanations first until you're so tired of those explanations you vomit. And once you've gotten past that point where you can no longer rationally explain why that's happening, then you go, okay, this is a data point. We now have something here. There is a bang that happens at 3 a.m. in this location for some unknown reason. And then we look for the next one. So if that's, your lights flicker, or if, even if you feel cold and we're actually able to measure that there's a drop in temperature on a regular basis,
I see.
we're able to put all of these together, and eventually we'll have enough of those that we can put together a working theory.
And a
And
case, is that like a case to say something is happening?
exactly. And then further tests to figure out what it is. Because there's so many different things out there that, people believe in, that you can't concretely, unless you do a lot more digging, say it's one thing or the other.
And what sort of things, Jack, have you encountered? Without maybe giving away too much, or well, no, give away a lot actually. What sort of things have you encountered? Tell me about it.
There's some things I can tell you and some things I can't tell you. And some of the best, juiciest stuff is stuff I can't tell you. But I can tell you I have heard and been in the presence of weird phenomena, and including doors opening and closing mysteriously without anybody touching them, and they were locked just seconds before. Fascinating, accounts from people that have seen things and footage, and I've myself have caught numerous orbs on camera, and all sorts
And
of,
what? So
of
what's an
strange
orb then?
things.
I mean, because a lot of people talk about seeing orbs. I'm a bit weird, so I do feel that there's things fluttering around a lot. But what is an orb then? What is it?
Well, okay, my research has lately been into near-death experiences. I think that's a fascinating topic, and when I'm trying to learn about ghosts, I have to think about whether souls exist or not. And I've never been religious, but once I came across enough evidence that ghosts existed, I had to wonder, are those really souls? Are those other dimensional alien type beings? What are they? So I did a lot of research and I started looking into near-death experiences. And there is a solid body of scientific evidence going back 40 years that people, professors and scientists have studied near-death experiences. And they've found all sorts of corroborating evidence of these people's accounts who have died. Their hearts have stopped, they have no brain activity, and they are able to go into this other place and come back and tell us about it. So I have come to the conclusion that souls exist and that a lot of these ghosts are actually that. They are human souls. And what's more, people tell about orbs. There have been multiple accounts of near-death experiences where people say once out of the body, they became orbs. And they even describe how that feels to get shrunken down into a spherical object.
Wow.
It's crazy, trippy stuff. And I don't expect anybody to believe it until they've researched it thoroughly. But I have. And so, yeah, I think that orbs, some of them, are probably human souls.
And
Steve,
sorry,
that's
just go on.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Even with the research and whatnot, we still don't have that empirical evidence. The best working theory is that this is, orbs are how we see things that are traveling around us that we don't know what they are. That's how it is for me. Because there's so many things out there that it's not necessarily just a person. And I know that's a little scary, but
Yeah,
that's
very scary.
Yeah, but these have been things we've been talking about since, man could paint on walls. Seeing other weird things out there that there's really no records for, but yet the myth and the narrative continues. And so, I kind of see it as all of those things are just one step removed from us, but sometimes we can get a capture of them in the
You have
form of an
access to
orb.
it. Yeah.
Well, and then the other thing with orbs is you have to be extremely careful because orbs, when you're filming, you could have dust that reflects off of light. You could have cobwebs. You could have bugs. And so you really, really, really have to be careful about, posting or declaring that this is an orb after you've thoroughly looked through the footage, make sure it behaves differently, the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And Elizabeth, I mean, I've read up recently on your approach to this kind of work, and you very much talk about the spiritual. And I know that you grew up not far from where I am, actually, and there was a great influence there for you spiritually. You're a Reiki master and all these things. Has that had an impact on how you view the paranormal, if that's the correct term?
I mean, I think what you were saying there is it's helped me basically just be open my entire life. My biggest influence spiritually is my mom. She used to take us to this amazing place, Findhorn Foundation. I know you've heard of it, but it's such a spiritual place. As soon as you cross the threshold, you can feel something special. I don't know what. And since the age of, I guess I was 13, we've been meditating as children, and then obviously as a teenager, I grew out of that a little bit, and then in my 20s, I've come around and sort of seeking that out again. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to get into meditating too. I've heard that can help, raise your vibration level.
And the thing I'm really interested in, because I am a musician and a composer, is that sometimes I don't know where I'm getting these musical ideas, these words from, and things like that. And and sometimes I've thought to myself, is it actually me that's writing this stuff? Because it seems too good, to be something that I've written, and also maybe as if I've heard it before, and I go to the piano and it just all comes out. What would you call that? Am I just freaky? Or, what would you call that, Jack? Is there a way to define that?
You're not the first person that I've heard that has had that experience. A lot of
Really?
musicians almost seem to channel their music from somewhere else. And I can't explain it. I don't know. Is that the other side? Is it, what is that? Is that Are
Yeah.
you tapping into the collective human unconsciousness like Chris talks about a lot? I don't know, but that is not uncommon, and it is fascinating. If you ever find out, let us know.
Oh, I will. And I hope you come round and you don't prove that it's not that. I want it to be that, not an animal or somebody in the lawn doing the yard. So what I want to know is I have a few questions from people who have been really excited about you guys coming on. And are you okay for me to fire them at you? Is that okay?
Go
I'm
ahead.
going to leave it open so you can fight for the audio space, okay? So this is a brilliant one. Are you scared?
Yes. Well,
Are we talking about in general with the world? Because yes.
yeah.
No, in the paranormal investigation, are you scared, Elizabeth?
Oh, well, as you'll see in one of the clips later, there's a point where something literally whispers in my ear. I don't know what it says, but I could feel the presence, and I immediately like run scared. So yeah, at the time, and then once I calm down, I'm like, okay, this is what we want. This is our goal. Like, relax.
Yeah. And Chris, are you scared?
If you're in a creepy, dark place and you hear voices, you tend to get frightened. You have a jump scare here and there, but about the paranormal in general, or when we're investigating, I'm pretty even keeled. So it would take quite a bit for me to freak out.
And Jack, there's a moment in the footage I think we're going to see that Elizabeth says, "Why don't you go and stand over there in the corner?" And then she goes, "You're really brave. That's where I saw the big black entity." I think those are the words, and
Yeah,
like, cheers, thank you, darling.
right. Yeah.
I- how do you feel when somebody like that does that to you? How do you feel?
There are negative entities out there, and there generally seem to be bad experiences that people have. Sometimes, quite bad. So you have to be aware of that. On the other hand, I think that there's something to the idea that if you're thinking negative thoughts and you're fearful, that you're going to draw negative things to you. So I think that it's a really good idea to be as positive as possible, even if that takes, working yourself up, meditating, whatever, to be positive when you're going into those situations. Because you don't want to draw that negative energy and, those negative entities if that's what they are to you.
Yes, absolutely. And the next question is very interesting, and it is, what would you say to somebody who tells you this is a lot of rubbish? They do not believe you. This is not a real job. This is just nonsense. Chris, what would you say?
I would go, okay, if that's what you believe, I'll respect your beliefs. For me, it's been different. And then I would ask them, I would want to know what it would take for them to say that there is something. Because there's some people, a very good friend of mine is exactly like that. He says for him to believe in aliens, they would have to land the ship in front of them and then walk out of it.
Yeah.
And so there are some people that they're so invested and rooted in there not being anything
Yeah.
that it really, you can't change their mind. And really, this isn't really the point, I guess. Because the point for us, at least for me personally, I'm not doing this for other people. I'm doing this because I want to know what's
Yeah.
out there. And if I find something that's pretty amazing, and I can't share it, I'll be okay with that.
Yeah.
Just because at least I'll know.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
but yeah, that's what I would say.
And Elizabeth, what would you say?
Um, my husband was a complete skeptic, and he was open. I would just say, are you open to perhaps exploring it and having an experience? If so, follow me.
Yeah.
And you know, the percentage of people who used to be skeptics has gone down as to the percentage of believers now, which is kind of good. So yeah, I would.
And I mean, sorry,
No,
continue.
yeah.
There's so many series on Netflix and, you know, and all these other streaming channels where, you know, it's all about this. And I think everybody thinks that they are a hunter or they're, you know, something's going on in this magical, mystical world. But Jack, I've read that there was a turning point for you where you changed your mind or your idea about what was going on. Can you share any of that with us?
Yeah, sure. Just really briefly, you know, I've always written about the fantastic, but I have never believed in it. I've never believed in UFOs or aliens, ghosts, cryptids, anything. You know, total atheist, didn't believe in the soul, you know, all of that. You know, I only believed in, you know, what was scientifically provable and what I could see in the everyday world. And then the Navy UFO videos came out a few years ago, and it took me a little while to see it. I think I saw it in 2018 finally. And when I saw those officially released, Pentagon released videos of UFOs, and then heard the pilots that had interacted with those craft speak about their experiences, I realized, hey, you know, there's something here. So I investigated it. I did a deep dive into UFOs, like unhealthily deep. I did, and I'm glad I did because it really opened my mind. It changed the way I look at the world, and ultimately it led me to a place called Skinwalker Ranch. I don't know if you've ever heard of that,
No, I haven't.
but
No.
the Pentagon program ATIP that released those videos of UFOs began about 15, 20 years ago at a place in Utah called Skinwalker Ranch. And millions of dollars of our taxpayer money went to investigating this crazy place, which is the Twilight Zone on Earth, like the real life Twilight Zone. They have, I mean, the reports are ghosts, cryptids, UFOs, portals, shadow people, you know, all the crazy paranormal stuff that you can think of supposedly exist in this one place called Skinwalker Ranch and in the whole basin, the Uintah Basin, where it is. And the Pentagon, like I said, studied this, and it had been studied previously by CIA scientists under the direction of Bob Bigelow. And anyway, so it's a very legit, concrete place where all this fantastic stuff happened. And when my research led me there, I said, holy geez, you know, come on, we got ghosts, really? There can't be ghosts. There can't be cryptids. There are portals? What? Come on, pull the other leg. So I did, you know, once again, I dived into the research. I did a massive amount of research, and it wasn't long before I realized, hey, ghosts are a thing. You know, cryptids are a thing. And then I just had to know more about it. So I sought out some, you know, like-minded people that wanted to know what this all meant and what do these things fit together? Are cryptids related to UFOs? What's up with the ghosts? And sure enough, I found that 30% of alien abductees are also near-death experiencers. What does that
Wow.
mean, right? So there's you know, it's fascinating. It's weird. I will never get tired of trying to understand, you know, essentially the nature of reality. Uh,
That's a quote, isn't it? I will never get tired of trying to understand the nature of reality. That's brilliant. There's a song. There's most definitely a song
Well,
there.
he touches on a great point because there's so much that's already out there, just like he was saying that, you know,
Yep.
he did his research and he looked into, and we're not talking about it. It's
Yeah.
not, you know, the Pentagon release was on CNN for a while, you know, it maybe was in a news cycle for a couple days. Then it just kind of went away. And
And
then,
is that your
oh,
job now then, Chris? Is your job now to get that out there so that people do hear about these things?
once again, I'm a bit more selfish, but once I guess with having conversations with people,
Yeah.
it is important to bring up things that are already established. Like when you have a video from the Pentagon about an unidentified flying object, that's pretty legit. Like it unless the US government was putting millions and millions of dollars into pranking the world, which I don't think they would do because I also don't think they have a sense of humor. Um, then you're left with, do I believe them? But it's not just what he was talking about. We're talking about in academic circles, people are looking into the nature of reality and finding amazing things that are being published, but no one's pushed it into the news. Like we know uh, through an experiment with a random number generator that we actually affect our own reality. So they have these machines set up that are basically bulletproof. Like you cannot mess up how it randomly generates numbers. And there's like 1 in 100 billion chance. But they found when people concentrate on this machine,
Mm-hmm.
it would start to form patterns. It would start to repeat. And so they take it to the Dalai Lama and they say, does this machine have a consciousness for us to affect with our consciousness? And of course, being the Dalai Lama, he says, if you think it does, it does. So very Dalai Lama, but not very helpful. But and they just found out recently as well that plants also affect those machines. They took one of the machines, they hooked them up to a UV light or one of the growing lights that they use for plants, and they put it in a black room and they motorized the ceiling. So every time it generated a number, it would move according to that number, completely random. Well, they put a plant in there and it kept going back to the plant to give it light, which shouldn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So the plant's consciousness affected this machine. And some friends were I was just looking to some reports and talking to some friends about it, that now they believe that plants can communicate, and some plants may even have a form of memory. So who knows,
Yeah.
what else we're going to find out, but no one talks about these things. These articles come
No.
out in obscure scientific journals. They come out, very niche, but they're important because that raises so many questions about our reality. If we can affect a random number generator, if we all believe in something, does something come from that? I mean, what happens if everyone in the world thinks about one thing?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Would it solve a lot of problems? It might do. It might cause them as well. And that,
Correct.
that could
I mean, we might make our own boogeymen.
be.
There might be some nasty stuff out there that's been made by us because we believed in it. Somewhere out there could be the clown from It.
Oh, hope not.
I hope not, but
I hope not. I'm not leaving the house.
well, you shouldn't anyway. So,
And Elizabeth, do you think that this kind of thing can make people feel better? Do you think that people are searching for answers? And if so, what answers do you think they're looking for?
I think ultimately people are searching for happiness, right? Everyone wants to be happy. And with my spiritual background and whatnot, and meditation and Reiki, it's all positive vibes, and everything's connected. Everything's one thing, one energy. Yeah, I guess not. I don't know if people are searching for answers or specific questions. Just happiness, and happiness heals. I mean, positivity heals. It really does. Yeah, maybe if we all meditate at the same time. There are groups that do that and try and make the world a better place. So yeah.
It's not a
Yeah,
bad idea.
they literally, the group she was talking about went to a small town of like 2,000 people, and they found that if they could get 1% of the town to participate in being positive, just
Yeah.
positive thoughts and all of that, it had a cascading effect on the rest of the town. So like a positivity
Oh yeah.
domino effect. And
And that definitely,
but
that must work. You know, it must work, because if people get together to be something. And I've got to say, tonight there are so many things have happened during this broadcast. At one point there, everybody froze. There was nothing coming through there for me. I think there's bits on the screen when you've been talking and it's been focused on somebody else. There's got to be something going on here. And today I have felt extremely spooked. And I don't know, why, but I really have. I'm not I generally try to stay very upbeat about anything to do with anything spiritual. Do you think that maybe somewhere out there is something that you might find because you guys have got together? I've been lucky enough to have conversations with all three of you before, and you are the most unlikely team of paranormal investigators. You're so open, and you have such a different perspective from each other. You bring to this team such a wonderful, quirky, upbeat, argumentative, answer. What do you think you can bring to this world of paranormal investigation? What can you bring that is different? And that's an open question to MD, who can get in quick enough.
Well, ideally, we could bring some answers. That's
Yeah.
what we're after. We would love to find out how these things are connected and what they mean. Where is humanity's place in all this?
Yeah.
I would like to change how people go about investigating the paranormal, because
Yeah.
so many people jump to conclusions. Um, I guess the biggest part about it is being okay with saying you don't know.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of times people will catch something on film, or they will get a reading on any number of instruments. And in reality, there's nothing that says because you've gotten a reading on something that automatically means ghost.
Yeah.
That means you need to work harder to prove, first off, where that reading came from and all that stuff. But it's really okay to say you don't know.
Yes, absolutely. And Elizabeth?
And okay, yeah.
I was just gonna say, it really is random the way we came together. It was just through a meetup group that I started. But it was just bizarre that Chris and I got talking at the end, and we just clicked, and was like, okay, this is amazing. And then Chris is like, hey, you remember Jack? I'm like, yeah. And then that's how that happened. I know in my heart that I'm gonna get answers in this lifetime. I just know it. So that would be really awesome.
And Elizabeth, if you were to look back on everything that you've done to get you to this place, and like I said before, you're a dancer, you're an actor, you're a producer, a director, and everything. And what, you have decided that this is the path you want to take. On making that decision, is there anything that you've reflected upon and you've thought, you know what, this is just fabulous?
Just my journey has always taken me back to paranormal, and I'm like, that's fabulous. I've always tried to get my own television show. Since I was 2 years old, I was moving to America to be famous. But obviously the famous parts change, and now I grew up as a weird kid, and just that I've never let go of the paranormal, but I do wish that I'd opened up sooner and worked harder on the paranormal side of things.
But
yeah,
the fact that you have done
yeah, I think
is
everything
fabulous.
happened for a reason. You know, I firmly believe everything happens for a reason, and this is the point. So.
And Chris, what about you? You know, could you turn around and say, "Do you know, that this has just been incredible."
Uh, well, yes, I do think. Well, look, I've been happy to find two other people who we just immediately clicked, and started working on this together, and it felt right. And uh, for me, one of the biggest things I enjoy is working with others, especially when you're in sync or in tune. And I love having discussions with the two of them. I love disagreeing with them. I just the whole process of it has been really great. But for me, I've always felt like we are so much bigger than just what we are.
Yeah.
And from a very young age, I've just always felt that there's just more to us than this.
Yeah.
And that's really what prompted me, because if there's more to us, what else is there more to?
And that's amazing. You know, and Jack, what about you? You know, if you could just look back on it all and say, you know, this really is, this is magnificent. This is truly fabulous.
Yeah, it really is. Now that I'm aware that there are things out there, that the world isn't what I thought it was, I am just, uh, it's a puzzle that I can't solve. It's like having the greatest puzzle set you could ever imagine, and then having some pieces of it. And you can kind of see a little bit of the picture, but you can't really make it out. But it's just the best puzzle, and you want to solve it. And that's how I feel. It's just this beautiful puzzle, and it's so maddening because you can just kind of make it out a little bit here and there, maybe, but you can't put it all together. And I would just love to be able to put it together, even just a little corner of it, so I could understand some part of it all.
Well, you know, guys, you're so inspiring. And I truly think it is that you are all so different. You know, there's nothing stereotypical about this. It's fresh and it's new, and I love that you go, it's okay that we don't know, and it's okay that we disagree, and it's okay that we go, no, I don't feel anything. And that, I think, is truly going to be what catapults this, you know, into the public eye, your way of thinking about this, and how fabulous it is. And I can't wait to see all the series that you're going to produce to be on television. That will be one award ceremony that one, two, three, four, five, six millions of award ceremonies that I know a lot of people will want to be at. And I'm sure that tonight you have given people an access and a little bit of a portal, if you like, somewhere to look through to see what it's like to be on the other side of that lens. And I know that we're about to see some of your wonderful work, and I can't wait to see what happens with it. But personally, to you all, I can't believe I actually got you on the show. You know, I never thought this was going to happen, and I'm delighted that it happened this week just before Halloween. So from me in Lossiemouth to you all in America, I want you to take care of yourselves, stay safe, and guys, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank
Happy
you very
Halloween.
much, and happy Halloween.
Happy
Happy
Halloween,
Halloween.
guys.
But come check this out. I felt a gust, because this isn't moving. You see how this fish wire is not moving?
Yeah, no.
I felt a gust.
Oh, no, I feel it too.
Oh, right here. Come here, like at my head. Like put your hand right here. No, it's right here now.
Okay, this is something. It's
Look.
not.
Okay, come here.
I felt it there. Oh, whoa, it moved. Okay, that's weird.
Okay,
It's
so
moving.
we're feeling this cold here. No, it's right here now.
There's something next to us.
Oh,
It's gone.
yeah.
There it is. Okay,
My-
who is this?
I can feel it right here and here at my sleeves.
Here.
Acutely. And the messed up part is I have my sleeves rolled up so it's super thick right here.
Right.
So I should.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be.
It shouldn't.
What happened?
What happened?
What happened?
They whispered in my ear.
Oh, I love when that happens.
Oh my God.
Honestly, my heart's beating like.
Oh my God.
Could you make it out?
What did
Yeah, I
it
couldn't
say?
make it out.
Yeah, we're just freaking out because they can feel the cold.
I can feel the cold, but it doesn't. I don't feel that same.
Are you okay?
Like
Kinda.
Yeah.
I just like,
It's-
literally hit
It's,
myself.
are you feeling anything here, or is like what does it feel like to you?
Right now, nothing. Back there, nothing. But I saw some orbs. But in the bathroom, very heavy. Weird feeling.
You know, I thought about bringing you a six-pack because I know you have a really strong. You know, you can feel it more.
I know. You go stand in that corner and I film you. You're very brave. That's where I saw the big black entity. Okay, if there's anyone there, touch him. Touch his left leg. You feel anything?
Nothing yet.
Okay. I don't see anything. No. Do you feel any like different over there?
I feel creeped out. I don't feel anything yet, but I am
Okay.
nervous about feeling a phantom hand.
Touch his
or
back.
Or appendage on me. But yes, beings, if you would like to, you know, touch me, that'd be cool. I guess.
I thought I felt something touch my back there.
Did you?
I do, but I don't know if it's my hair